Have you ever come to a crossroads in your life and you had to choose a direction? How do you choose? I mean, there's no way to really know the better direction until years later when it's too late. The opportunity's gone and you live with the consequences. But what if there was a reliable way to know which direction is better for you long term? A way to know which direction will help you exceed your own expectations of what you're capable of doing. I think I've stumbled on a way by complete accident. When I was a freshman in grad school, I was a research assistant. I had this tiny office way in the back of the building with 4 other grad students. We had these tall filing cabinets that separated our desks. And it was in this cozy little nest of mine that I collected data, put it on my spreadsheet, and wrote up papers. One day, my professor comes to me and he says, "Arfan, would you be interested in being a teaching assistant?" I said, "I've never done that before. I guess I can grade some papers and assist. Sure, why not? I could do that." Actually, there was some teaching involved. I've never taught. What is it, like 15, 20 kids? Actually, it's intro psychology, 523. My mind starts racing to, dude, you have never taught before. You've never spoken in public. You're awkward, you're gangly. These kids are going to tear you apart and make you look like an idiot. In fact, you'll be an idiot for doing this. And as my mind was creating all these reasons to say no, another part of me noticed how good I was at talking myself out of it. And as I turned to politely decline with the words, "No, thank you," I heard myself saying the words, "I'll do it." As I said those 3 words, I felt a pit in my stomach that started to grow for weeks. And I fantasized of ways to get out of this horrible mistake, but realized there's no going back. That first class, I walk in, look up, and see 1,000 eyes. You know what? It was a disaster. My adrenaline kicks in. I'm talking so fast, they can't understand me. They look around, they're trying to figure out. I look at my professor at the very end, and he has a look that can only be described as disappointment. And he says, "Arfan, slow down and enunciate." But you know what surprised me? As I was walking out of the doors of that class, I was exhilarated. I was flying. Not for my performance, that was horrible. But for this one time, I didn't talk myself out of it. I made a choice that didn't give me a choice, but to grow. It took me all semester to get comfortable in my own skin, but that one choice sent me on a completely different path. One of the most fulfilling parts of my job is I get to help leaders grow. And they ask, what books should I be reading? What classes should I be taking? What tools or assessments should I be considering for me or my team? And trust me, I gobble that stuff up. I love it. But sometimes I ask myself, is that how substantial growth actually happens? Think about it for you, when you grew the most, personally or professionally. Was it a book? A blog post? A class? In fact, did it have anything to do with ingesting more information? Or was it an experience? And not just any experience, but one that was completely over your head. You literally had to convince yourself to do it and had this potential for utter and miserable failure. After getting my master's degree, I interviewed for a job in Foster City, California. And 30 minutes in, I'm getting all the right vibes. You know, the nodding, the smiling. And I'm thinking, this is in the bag. He says, Arfan, I see in your resume that you know Arabic. I said, well, no is a strong word. It says I took it in college. It's kind of taking Spanish in high school. You don't really know it, do you? I'm not fluent. He said, well, you seem smart enough. We've got a project in Kuwait. I may not look like it, but I grew up in Miami. I lived in Michigan and California, had never lived outside the US in my adult life, and my mind starts racing. Dude, you're gonna go halfway across the world? What, 7,800 miles away? I hear deserts are hot. Your family's here. You're not fluent, you know. What if you lose your passport? Will they even believe you're American? It could happen. And as these thoughts are coming, I notice again, I'm really good at talking myself out of things. And when I noticed that, I said, I'll go. So I moved to Kuwait. And you don't realize how comforting your culture is until all your reference points gone. You don't realize how comforting language is until you don't understand a word being said around you. And you don't realize what loneliness could be until you wonder, if anything happens to me, how long will it take anybody to find out? And yet through all that, I was so grateful because I made a choice that didn't give me a choice but to grow. To be immersed in a new culture, to learn a new language, and to make some of the best friends I have ever made. A few months into the consulting quad project in Kuwait, I had my first feedback session. Now, if you have not had the good fortune in being part of one of those, it's when your colleagues get to tell you what they really think about you. Now, in some organizations, this is done one-on-one. In this firm, we did it as a group. Doesn't that sound exciting? And as I'm listening to my colleagues, a consensus emerges. And it goes along the lines of, Arfan, we love working with you, but you're kind of quiet in the big meetings. Wish you would speak up more. I was speechless. It didn't help. Next to me, I'm psyching myself up. Okay, say something smart, say something smart, say something smart. As soon as I get my courage up to say something, guess who walks in? Dude, what are you, 20-something? What profound insight could you possibly add here? Keep quiet, so I'm going to find you out for the fraud that you are, and fix that mistake by firing you. What do I do? What do I do? So, next team meeting, I try again. Say something smart, say something smart, say something smart. Again, I get more self-conscious and more stuck until I get so desperate, I say to myself, the next time I say this hey dude thing in my mind, I am going to say what's on it even if they hate it. Or if they hate me for it. So I did. They didn't fire me. And every day, my confidence grew. So now do you know how to tell the right direction? After looking back at all these inflection points in my career and how good I was at talking myself out of things, it occurred to me that an intense series of excuses can be an alarm system to run. Run to safety. Run to the known. But the great news is that alarm system can be rewired and can be used to find treasure. Now, every time I'm faced with choices that generate all these intense excuses, I stop. Notice what's taking place and ask myself the question, which of these options will force me to grow? A couple of months ago, I tell a friend that I've been chosen to do a TEDx talk. He says, "Great, good for you. Why the hesitation in your voice?" I said, "Dude, you don't understand. I don't know what I'll talk about. I have 2 sweat points before. I'm swamped. There's no way." I stopped. I noticed, and I asked the question. So after 523 students, 10 foreign countries, and a TEDx talk, I know that excuses are a sign. And in the other direction, there's a choice that will give me no choice but to grow. Thank you.